Hi everyone, my name is Frida, and in this video I'm going to talk about the Cold War. First of all, what was the Cold War? It was a rivalry between USA and the URSS and their respective allies, developed thanks to the World War II. The US was capitalist, almost everything was privately owned to provide the country. The URSS was communist, led by Joseph Stalin, a system where everyone owns everything, creating a commonwealth. It's important to emphasize that it wasn't a war in form. It was more like a movement to intimidate each other, trying to establish the best country, all of this by using propaganda and undercover agents. The main dates of these periods are: first, the construction of the Berlin Wall in 1948, then the Korean War in 1950. After that, the space race in 1957, the Bay of Pigs in April 1961, the Cuban Missile Crisis in 1962, and the fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989. Why the movement got the name of Cold War? The term was established by George Orwell, referring to his prediction of a nuclear conflict in which millions of people can be wiped out in a few seconds. During this war, we have two important economical systems. The capitalism, that basically is a socioeconomic system where the private industries overexploit their workers to get benefits and more incomes, and everyone decides how to produce and the price. It prefers the individual freedom than the collective stability, and the government is not involved in any aspect. Its main characters are Friedrich Hayek, Milton Friedman, David Ricardo, Adam Smith, and John Locke. On the other hand, we have the socialism, that is a way to organize a society in which most of the industries are ruled or owned by the government instead of an individual person. Specifically, this term is used to talk about an economic system, a type of society, a philosophical perspective, moral thought, etc. And the most relevant persons of this are Karl Marx, Friedrich Engels, and Henry de Saint-Simon. To understand what those people know about the Cold War, I interviewed my grandfather. His name is Jorge Noroña Venegas, and he is 62 years old. What he remembers is that the main reason of the conflict was to establish a threat between USA and the URSS, to promise not to use nuclear missiles among them or others. The world powers had political disagreement and they fought for economical issues. The countries that were more involved were USA, Russia, Germany, France, and Japan, being the first two the leaders of this movement. He thinks that the breakup of the alliance between USA and the Soviet Union was because of how they divided Germany and got the control of their own part. The Berlin Wall was the limit between both regions. The political differences direct them to a misunderstanding. As the Cold War was more an economical and political problem, there wasn't a specific place. Obviously, we have key locations, but not a particular one. Jorge said. With the pass of the time, my grandpa listened to the radio and saw it in TV that the involved countries had weapons like military and chemical armament, war tanks and planes, bombermen, but the main weapon was the atomic bomb, like the ones used in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. He said that there were only a few physical fights, so the world powers gave minimal use to all this armament. As a personal opinion, I think that wars are useless. The countries fight because of their ambition and the domain wish, in order to win resources and subdue the weak ones. The Cold War didn't help to the global situation. The world was already divided because of the World War II, and the opposite of the world powers made the differences bigger than before. Nowadays, there isn't a reconciliation or cooperation, just a diplomatic process to achieve economical and strategic treatments, like the petroleum industry. My father concludes. Nowadays, some countries adopt one of the economical systems. For example, the capitalism now is present in countries like Hong Kong, Singapore, New Zealand, Switzerland, Australia, Ireland, Estonia, the United Canada, and the United Arab Emirates, while the socialism is used in countries like China, Denmark, Finland, the Netherlands, Sweden, the Norway, Cuba, North Korea, Belgium, and Laos. By my own, I think that the Cold War was just a movement to determine which country was the best and which economic system was more useful for people. But it was really hard to take a decision because the socioeconomic situations were different in those powers, despite having participated in the same war and the same alliance. Personally, I don't like any of the described systems, for the simple reason that both are unfair. In capitalism, workers spend more time and energy than the necessary to satisfy industries owners' expectations, and in socialism, one person can work 12 hours, other one can work 5, and both will have the same payment and rights. Thank you for your attention and see you in the next one.